Okay, so we're going to start topic 1, which is first looking at physical and chemical properties, talking about the elements, talking about states of matter. We've sort of already seen this idea that in the periodic table, elements are arranged by increasing number of protons, and so that's the increasing atomic number. Our first element, hydrogen, has 1 proton, etc., etc. This picture we've also already seen, so this idea that electrons are negatively charged, they occupy most of the volume, while protons and neutrons make up the nucleus. Protons are positively charged and they take up most of the mass. Nucleons, an important word to remember, is the number of protons and neutrons together, and that can be how we figure out the mass number. We also saw this atomic symbol back at the beginning of the course, so this idea that there's a bunch of different numbers that we write next to different elements and that tell us information about the number of protons, neutrons, and electrons. So pause this video if you need to go through this table, but we're going to move on to something that we haven't seen yet in this specific course. And the first item of business is this idea of states of matter. So I'm sure you've seen this in all of your science courses before, but again, the IB includes it at the beginning of its syllabus. And so you need to know the arrangement as well as the motion of particles in solids, liquids, and gases. So I've drawn the particles in a solid. Again, they form a very regular pattern. We sometimes call it a lattice pattern, and they vibrate around a fixed point. Liquids, as you probably already know, there's no particular pattern in their arrangement, and their motion can be described as being able to slide past each other. Gases, finally, obviously there's no pattern. They take up any possible space. They move randomly, quickly, in straight lines until they collide with something. Okay, so this should be a review from your IGCSE, from year 9, from year 8, from year 7. This is also a review, so this idea of state changes. So again, when we're going from solid to liquid, we call that melting. This is endothermic because we need to put energy in. Going from liquid to gas is evaporation or boiling, and going from solid to gas is sublimation. You need to know all of these words, obviously. And then going the other way, so making our particles closer together, we call gas to liquid condensation, liquid to solid freezing, and gas to solid deposition. So you need to be able to know what all of these words mean, identify these words, and think about whether or not they are endothermic or exothermic. Okay, the last topic that we're going to see in this video is this idea of types of substances. So we can separate things into pure substances and mixtures. Within those pure substances, as we've already seen in topic 4, we can have molecules, which is where we have compounds where electron pairs are shared. Another type of compound that we have is ionic compounds. So this is a compound where electrons are transferred. And again, these along with elements are all examples of pure substances. And so again, just drawing that lattice structure of the ionic compound, remembering that we have alternating patterns of cations, positively charged ions, and anions, negatively charged ions. In terms of mixtures, so we can talk about this idea of having homogeneous mixtures, heterogeneous mixtures, and just looking at the prefixes here, homo usually means same, hetero usually means different. In a homogeneous mixture, the components are all in the same phase. They cannot be separated specifically by filtration, decanting, or centrifuging. Some examples of homogeneous mixtures where everything's in the same phase is salt water, so that's an aqueous homogeneous mixture. Tea is also aqueous. In terms of gaseous mixtures that are homogeneous, we can think about air, and then solid homogeneous mixtures are alloys like brass and bronze. Looking at heterogeneous mixtures, again, so they have some components that are now in different phases. So some examples are blood. So within our blood we have some solid particles that can be separated by centrifuging. Milk and smog are other examples of solids suspended in a liquid or gas.